Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, it's me Gamerturk, and this is the weekly Alicization Q&A, now titled Weekly War of Underworld Q&A, where I answer your questions about the series. This was something I started at the end of the Human Realm arc, and a lot of you liked it, and it was a good opportunity to interact with all of you, and I hope you enjoy our delayed run in War of Underworld as well. The format is that every week after my Alicization Explained video, I ask you to send me your burning questions. I then pick a bunch of them under the categories quote-unquote normal, which is non-spoiler in regards to the contents of the last aired episode, which is episode 2, War of Underworld in this case, opinion, where the vague opinion-related questions belong, and after those two segments are covered, spoiler questions regarding Sword Art Online, where I take your questions that's answers belong to the future of the series. Don't worry if you don't want to hear spoilers, there'll be a huge spoiler warning before we move on to the spoiler stuff, so you can leave appropriately. Also, normally I take around 10 to 15 questions to answer, but since I had to skip the first week, I decided to answer 25 questions this time around. Also, in normal cases, I don't answer questions that directly ask me spoilers, but I'm getting tired of some very obvious questions like will Kirito wake up, will Asuna dive into Underworld, that I'm gonna answer those in this Q&A as well in the spoiler section and just be done with them. Some questions were asked way too many times, so I picked one version of the question. Please don't feel bad if it isn't specifically your version. There was a lot of interest for the first Q&A episode that I didn't expect. You can find a list of all the questions in the description and pinned comment as well, so you can jump around if certain questions don't interest you and you're looking for different answers. Links to the source of Stacia's knowledge, Sword Art Online light novels, are down there as well, with both Amazon and Book Depository affiliate links. If you want to pre-order Volume 17, Alicization Awakening, I strongly recommend Book Depository since they are much more reliable with pre-orders compared to Amazon. But with all that out of the way, let's start with the first question. So this was something I actually forgot to put into my episode explained video, and I had a lot of questions regarding it, rightfully so, my mistake for not mentioning it in the Alicization explained video. Did Alice heal her eye from incarnation or by sacred arts that the anime skipped over? The thing is, the novels don't specifically state, but it gives a lot of hints as to what is happening. You can ignore certain things and claim she even healed her eye months ago, but the fact of the matter is, right before dripping that eye patch, the novels mention that she is feeling some sort of heat in her right eye socket that she didn't feel before, so that's kind of the major hint that she healed her eye via incarnation indeed, not via sacred arts. Next question. I don't really think this matters to the actual plot, but if a divine object is broken, say the Blue Rose Sword, can it be repaired and be as good as new aside from incarnation possibilities? That's actually a good question, and I don't think there's a clear answer, so we need to, deduce certain things based on information provided. Fact of the matter is, Underworld is essentially running on a game engine, and being a game engine, if something is broken, it must be able to be repaired, otherwise it would have just returned into polygons, So, in my opinion, and this is not a fact, this is just me deducing from certain information, yes, a divine object, even if broken, provided it did not disappear, can be repaired and be as good as new without the effects of incarnation as well. Will this anime have a good ending? The reason this is in the normal spoilers is to set your expectations. I am not gonna provide any future spoilers here. What I'm gonna say is that you can't say it has a good or bad ending. It's really not a black and white ending. In this case, it's all about the journey, what these characters have lived, the good and the bad, and when it comes to the end, you can't go ahead and say, ooh, that was a happy ending. You can't say that. Neither can you say, oh, this was a bad ending, that was a terrible ending. It's just somewhere in the middle that takes the entire journey of Alicization into perspective. So yeah, that's pretty much it. No black and white answers. It's not a good ending, it's not a bad ending. It's an ending of an epic journey. Can you explain in more detail about self-imaginary, because I don't understand the example given by Higa. The thing is, the anime did adapt the entire explanation quite well. They did the best they could. The problem with that explanation is that it's not a great explanation even in the books. I have an entire video about what happened to Kirito based on Higa's explanation and all the technical mumbo jumbo, you know, bringing it down to a more condensed version that makes hopefully more sense to you. So I strongly recommend you check that video out. It's around 6 to 7 minutes if I'm not mistaken, and I don't want to spend so much time in this video answering that question because it's a question I have already answered. Please go ahead and check that video. I hope it's gonna be helpful, and that's that question. Why hasn't Alice healed Kirito's arm yet? Weren't you supposed to be able to heal organs in Underworld? That's a good question. I didn't mention it in my explained because there were more important matters to mention at that point and I didn't want to take too long explaining all this stuff. But the thing is, Alice did try to heal Kirito's arm, but let's get one thing straight first. Healing and actually reconstructing organs are two separate sacred arts. You can heal stuff. Healing in this case means, sealing up wounds, for example. You got a cut, you heal the cut. It just seals the wound. If you lost a limb or something, you're gonna have to reconstruct that organ. Remember Eugeo's case back in, what was that, episode 10 ending? After he blasted his eye, the next morning, Miss Azurika comes in, taking them from prison to give them to Alice the Integrity Knight. She specifically conjures up a new organ with a separate sacred art than just healing. So Alice did heal Kirito's arm, which pretty much fixes everything on him that is left, but she tried to heal his mind, which didn't work for obvious reasons. Alice is not aware of why it isn't working, but that's because his floodlight was fried, etc. You learned that in this episode. For more information, again, look at my other video. And reconstructing an organ, she did try doing that to Kirito's arm as well, but it did not work. Obviously in the books we experience these scenes from Alice's perspective, so we don't have any specific information why the reconstruct organ didn't work on Kirito, but my guess would be is that reconstructing stuff relies on one's floodlight, one's memories, because that's how the visualization engine of Underworld works. And since Kirito's floodlight was essentially fried, the engine, the renderer, the visual engine did not have any references as to how to reconstruct Kirito, so in the end the reconstruction did not properly work. Again, that's my assumption based on the information, because the books don't provide any specific information on that, because we're experiencing things from Alice's perspective, who does not have the all-seeing, all-knowing thing. Next question, how exactly Kirito's memories weren't blocked when he dived into Underworld? Now, that's a great question to ask back in episode 2 of the Human Realm arc. But again, I answered everything here, so the problem is, his memories were supposed to be blocked, and even up until episode 24 of the Human Realm arc, Kiku and Higa thought his memories were completely blocked. They didn't know he had his memories, because when they were putting him into Underworld, they thought they actually sealed the memories. Somebody fucked up during the process, so his memories weren't blocked, which just steamrolled into Kirito fucking shit up in the simulation. So, good job, Kiku, you really messed that up. Does the novel have pictures like a manga, or is it just words? That's a good question. The novels do have quite a lot of illustrations, about, I don't want to give an exact number because it varies from volume to volume, but it always has 3 colored illustrations per novel. That's pretty much a standard for SAO novels, and a whole lot of non-colored illustrations. Of course, it's nothing close to a manga, but the illustrations are very detailed. You can see all the illustrations over at SAO Wikia. If you go to characters or novels and go to the gallery section, you can see all of the illustrations, so that should give you a good idea on what to expect in the novels. How did those bad guys get inside the ocean turtle so easily? From the anime's perspective, it looked as simple as just running in. Well, that's kinda what happens when you have a very delicate operation running, it's a secret operation, etc. But you're gonna learn more about that in episode 3, so I'm not gonna go into that just now. Next question, most anime tend to have big plot twists. Should we expect one to happen mid-season or closer to the finale? I actually answered similar questions in the past, what you should expect from Alicization is a giant thread of multiple plot twists here and there. So yes, you can expect plot twists in the mid-season, you can expect plot twists towards the finale, you can expect plot twists like 2-3 episodes from now. There are tons of plot twists because nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Next question, will Ronye and Tiese come back? Let me fix you there. The correct spelling for Ronye is R-O-N-Y-E, not I-E. That's a misspelling by Yenpress. This was confirmed by Reiki Kawahara himself. But that explanation probably took longer than what it would take to answer the question. Yes, they will be back. Stay tuned. Next question by Sing Yi. She says spoilers, just being cautious. Thank you for being cautious, but that's not really spoilers. I actually checked back to untranslated volumes as well with the help of SAO Wikia. No information was there, so I can answer this without any spoilers. I'm probably way ahead of myself, but did the light novels explain what happened to Tiese and Ronye after Eugeo and Kirito was taken away to the capital? Because after their mentors were taken away, did they remain mentorless? The most important thing you need to keep in mind here is that it took Kirito and Eugeo only a couple hours, like 2 days, to actually clear the Axiom Church. So in most cases, Tiese and Ronye, there isn't explicit information about this, let me get that out of the way first. So Eugeo and Kirito were taken away. After 2 days, they had already cleared the Axiom Church entirely. Bercouli had woken up and quickly had started this plan to raise the Human Empire army, at which point Tiese and Ronye were just enrolled into the Empire like many other people. So at most, yes, they did spend some time mentorless, but that time is quite short, only a couple of days, not more than 10 days I'd say, because Bercouli was quite quick, he knew the danger, so he had to get things rolling quite fast. So they barely spent any time mentorless. It was quite negligible in my opinion. That's a hard word that I keep messing up every single time. That brings us to the opinion questions. If Eugeo and Alice was thrown out of the Cathedral Tower and Kirito was still inside the tower, what would have happened to them? I partially answered this back in episode 18 Q&A as mentioned by Andrew, but didn't go into too much detail because it would entail War of Underworld spoilers. Thanks for requesting an answer again. The problem is it does still entail some spoilers, so I'm just gonna give you certain hints. In my episode 18 Q&A, I already covered what may have happened with Eugeo and Alice. The problem is it's such a broad topic that it's hard to answer one way or another. You can speak for an entire hour. But on Kirito's side, you know, I predicted that Kirito may have lost to Bercouli at that point because Eugeo specifically trapped him in the ice, and then Chudakin came in once the things were still. Kirito did not have a way to trap Bercouli, etc., so I would assume Kirito may have lost that battle. Although Kirito is much more creative, so he could have won that battle as well, who knows. But we know Bercouli was specifically holding back against Eugeo. We saw him using his enhanced armament, which is cutting the future. But we did not see him using his release recollection, so that's the thing that tips the equation to the other side in my opinion. Which is all I'm gonna say because I don't want to enter any spoilers as to what the perfect weapon control, not perfect weapon control, memory release can do. And I don't want to go into spoilers what Kirito can actually do, despite not knowing what he could do at that point, but... getting too close to spoilers. Let's end that there. Ask me again in like, I don't know, at the end of the arc maybe. Opinion. Do you think they should make a Moon Cradle a movie like Ordinal Scale because it's a side story? Now, for those who don't know, Moon Cradle is Sword Art Online volumes 19 and 20. It's a long Alicization side story, much longer than the likes of Mother's Rosario, etc. And we know that the side story won't be adapted in the Alicization anime run, so it has to be a different project. I don't think Moon Cradle would fit as a, you know, a full-blown movie like Ordinal Scale because it has a different structure. Ordinal Scale was an anime original movie, so it had the benefit that it was designed to be a proper movie. Moon Cradle was just like any other novel. It doesn't have that movie build-up and climax kind of structure, so I don't think it works as a proper movie. It can easily be a TV special, it can easily be a OVA, but no, I don't think it would be a movie. Next question. I watch you primarily for SAO contents and for some clarification about the SAO novel. When Alicization Part 1 ended, I started broadening my anime list. This is simply just out of curiosity, but do you ever think that you might cover another franchise other than SAO? Maybe, I don't know what K and Y is, Attack on Titan, Shield Hero, Black Clover, and what will you cover once SAO final arc is completely over, excluding Progressive, etc. I do have plans to cover other anime. Actually, I am covering one anime right now, Fate Grand Order, which you may not have realized because I got a copyright strike for my first upload for it, so it's only available on Facebook at the moment before I clear the thing, which I will continue making more videos this week, tomorrow or the day after probably. I don't have plans on covering Attack on Titan. I got bored like after reading the manga, after some revelations that sounded too much like bullshit to me. Never watched Shield Hero, never watched Black Clover, but yeah, as I said, if there is something that gets my attention, which Fate Grand Order was, and it still is, for example, soon there's gonna be Kaguya Love is War Season 2, which I am very excited for. I loved Season 1 of it, so I may actually cover that, etc. So yes, if there is something that gets my attention, I will definitely cover it, just not as in-depth like SAO because I don't have the in-depth knowledge on other franchises. What am I gonna cover once SAO's final arc is completely over? That's multiple years away, man. I cannot answer that question. We're gonna have to wait and see as to where time takes us. Next question. My question is a little bit unrelated to Alicization, but I'm kinda curious about your answer since your justification in every detail of your videos never stops to amaze me. Thank you. Do you think it's a better idea if they adopt the sort of progressive into anime, adapt Progressive into an anime? I already read the manga and it's kinda interesting. Good work, good luck, thank you very much. The thing is, you read the manga, so I am obliged to mention that the source material for Sword Art Online are the light novels. The manga adaptation of Progressive, especially the early volumes before the mangaka change, it's quite good, but when you read both the light novels and the manga feels a whole lot more like a parody than an actual adaptation. It really steers away from the tone of the light novels, it's much more comedic, etc. But yes, I do believe adapting Progressive into an anime is a great idea, which I am quite sure will happen before we get a Unital Ring anime. Unital Ring is the next arc after Alicization. It has just started in Japan, so it's gonna take years before the story is complete, so it can be adapted into an anime, so something must be adapted during that time to keep the interest going, which is gonna be Progressive and more alternative Gangale Online and even maybe Clover's Regret, maybe Girls Ops, who knows. Oh my god, this is already getting so long. Do you ship Alice and Kirito? If yes, then yay, banzai, same. If not, please do tell who do you ship with Alice and ship with Kirito with 1 to 3 reasons, please, thanks. First reason for every answer I'm gonna say, I do ship whatever Reki ships in his books. I am not here to create my own story, I am here to listen to Reki's story because I just enjoy how he writes his stories. If I wanted to make my own stories, I would just do that, but that's not my thing, so I'm not too much into the shipping territory. Who would I ship with Alice? Oh, I cannot answer that without shitposting knowing Alice's behavior towards the middle of the War of Underworld, so I won't answer that. Who do I ship Kirito with? Obviously Asuna. I gave my reason. I don't have 3 reasons, I literally have just 1 reason for that. Sorry about not answering your question as you might have expected, but that's kind of my viewpoint on it. More opinion questions. Oh my god, this is gonna take so long. I hope you're not getting bored while watching this. Do we know yet if Unital Ring will have a shorter story than Mother's Rosario, or do we not know much yet? We do not know how long Unital Ring is going to be, but what we do know is that it's already longer than Mother's Rosario. Mother's Rosario was only a single book, volume 7 if I'm not mistaken, because volume 8 should be early and late. But yeah, as I said, Mother's Rosario is essentially a single volume. Unital Ring has already one volume. Volume 21 is Unital Ring 1. Volume 22 is a side story compilation of all the Blu-ray stories. Volume 22, Kiss and Fly. Unital Ring is continuing in Volume 22 as Unital Ring 2, so yeah. What we do know is that Unital Ring is already longer than Mother's Rosario. We do not know how long it is going to be. But that brings us to the end of the opinion questions, so this is gonna be your spoiler warning. If you do not want to be spoiled on anything, I recommend you leave now. We are gonna have a lot of questions here, you know. Is Kirito gonna wake up? Is Asuna gonna dive into Underworld? How will Alice react if she were to meet Asuna, etc.? So if you don't want the answer to those kinds of questions, spoiler warning right now, leave and see you next week, I guess. If not, that means we are continuing with the spoiler section. First question of which is, what will Alice's reaction be if she met Asuna? She does meet Asuna, and her reaction is, who is that girl that just descended from the heavens and ordering me to do stuff? So she essentially admits that she is going into a pissing contest, but that's her reaction. She does go into a pissing contest just for the sake of it. Very cool, Alice. Very cool. Next question. When will Asuna arrive Underworld? I mean, in which episode do you think, or when it will Asuna see Kirito the first time in Underworld? So if we assume a 6 episode per volume pacing, which is what we can see so far, because the 3rd episode is gonna seemingly gonna complete the half of volume 15, Asuna should arrive either at the end of, I'd say maybe at the end of episode 11 or at the end of episode 10, so definitely in this core before we go into the break. And when will she see Kirito first time in Underworld? Either the next episode beginning or the exact same episode. It just happens so quickly. So we get one burning question out of the way. Hopefully won't be asked 50 times next time around. The next one is actually a rare question. I am surprised this is such a rare question. Is my boy Eugeo gonna be in War of Underworld? I know he is dead, but is he gonna be there? I received a similar question. I remember answering a similar question in my previous Q&As, but so many new people joined, so many of you joined very recently that I do not expect you to have watched them. The thing is, yes, as you said, he is dead and dead do not return. However, Eugeo had fused with the Blue Rose Sword, and you know, through that, let's start with the weapons in the first place. Divine weapons always have a past that defines their powers, their abilities, their properties, etc. For example, Blue Rose Sword was a little rose in the middle of the ice mountain, right? The Night Sky Sword was Giga Cedar. They all gain their power from there. The Night Sky Sword can pretty much absorb stuff to turn it into energy for itself. The Blue Rose Sword can just not destroy, just trap everything in ice because it can withstand that power, etc. Now think about Eugeo, who has fused with the Blue Rose Sword. That technically made him part of the... This is not explicitly explained, by the way. This is information that I am deducing from other information. Let's get that out of the way first. When he fused with the Blue Rose Sword, he technically became part of the memory of the sword in a sense. His floodlight is completely destroyed. His real self is not gonna return. But a part of him, an echo of him, let's say, still does live in the Blue Rose Sword. You're gonna see certain effects of it really soon in a couple of episodes. But that is... We are in the spoiler section, why am I even holding this? Yes, you will see Eugeo again, but know that it is not really Eugeo, it's a fragment of Eugeo that is trapped inside the Blue Rose Sword, because, not that trapped, it's just part of the Blue Rose Sword, let's put it that way, because I don't want to mislead people. It's not the real Eugeo, it's a fragment of Eugeo that is part of the Blue Rose Sword that is gonna reappear eventually. Hope that answers the question. Next one, quite the specific one actually. What's the real reason behind the enemy Dark Territory member helping Asuna after her arm gets cut off? You didn't mention any names, so I will not go into any names either. But the thing is, at that point in time, it's very clear many of the Dark Territory members realized that Emperor Vecta is not really trying to, I don't want to say protect them because it's a war, you don't really protect, but they start realizing that Emperor Vecta does not care about their well-being at all. So certain people try to find a better solution to their circumstances, etc. And seeing Asuna is suffering all that much with all the combination of that information, decides helping Asuna in that case. More questions. When Shinon and Lifa come down in volume 17, why the hell did Lifa had to befriend some pigs and not immediately find her own brother? I don't say it's a stupid question, and I'm not gonna say but, because it is not a stupid question, it's just a basic question. She does not know where Kirito is. She is, unlike Asuna, who is literally put into place where Kirito is, Lifa is not. Neither is Shinon, but that's an entirely different matter. So pretty much Lifa has no idea how to find him and, needs a sense of direction, and that is pretty much why. Next question. Is this new season of Sword Art Online gonna get related to other anime that connected to VR, such as Accel World, that came from the same author? I'm assuming you're referring to War of Underworld, so the answer is gonna be a big no. But if you're referring to Unital Ring, then most probably, because Unital Ring 1 has been out for a year now in Japan, and it has quite the major link to Accel World. I would assume yes, the two timelines are eventually gonna really get connected. At the moment, they are not officially connected, but yeah, with that major hint, they probably will be. Oh yes, the one question everyone is asking me about. Around what episode does Kirito stop being a vegetable? It's honestly sad seeing him like this. I keep answering everybody with the don't hold your breath answer, because he's gonna wake up at the very end. So do not hold your breath. He is gonna be a vegetable pretty much the entire war. And the war is not his story anyways. None of Alicization was his story, but Eugeo got gimped so hard that A1 decided, hey, this is Kirito's story now. So yeah, he's actually remaining a vegetable, so War of Underworld can actually be not his story. You won't see him wake up until the very end, but he will wake up at the very end. Oh, I really did not set it up that way, that the Vegirito question is the very final question. That was unexpected, my bad, guys. I provided timestamps in the description and pinned comment. You knew this was the final question, you could have skipped to it. If you didn't, not my problem. God damn it, this is long. This recording is 30 minutes long, actually. Thank you very much for watching, so yeah, I guess I'll see you next time. I'm really surprised by the huge interest, despite most questions being related to Asuna and Kirito's arrivals, quote-unquote arrivals. But yeah, volume 17 is coming out at the end of this month, so you can get that through the Amazon and Book Depository affiliate links in the description. As I said, Book Depository is much more reliable with pre-orders. But that's all I got this week. Again, next week we're gonna go back to 10 to 15 questions, because obviously this is taking way too long to answer. Patrons and channel members do get priority access to get their questions answered. So yeah, that's one of those benefits. Until next time, stay cool.